Hey, good morning, Barb.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm really good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Hey, welcome to podcast episode 44.
Yes, cheers to you too. Yeah, what's in your mug?
Oh, you're always asking me that. It's just black coffee this time. People are going to think I'm some sort of like secret alcoholic or something.
No,
What's in your mug, sis?
I have coffee too, but I have a little bit of cream in mine.
You're treating yourself to some dairy today, are you?
I am. Yes, Mario made biscotti yesterday.
Oh, I see. So it's not just cream, you're also treating yourself
Well,
to some fine Italian cookie.
yeah, I indulged last night, but yeah, we had a friend over, one of our neighbors. Ever since COVID, we've been kind of like meeting the neighbors here in our community.
Oh,
And
nice.
so we had a really wonderful time about a week or two ago with one of our neighbors who lives three doors down, and he is has a Lebanese background, and so he brought us over some Lebanese food
Mhm.
because Mario had made him some biscotti, and so then he was so enamored by them that he wanted the recipe. So yesterday we spent the afternoon baking biscotti with him,
Oh,
all
lovely.
socially distanced. We started out with masks, but then we took them off because we felt like we didn't need them. We were far enough apart. And I filmed Mario too doing the biscotti.
Mhm.
It was really a lot of fun. And then we had to have espresso coffee with biscotti.
Of course.
That's the story behind that one.
That's really nice, Barb. I'm glad that's
Mhm.
so yeah, to everybody out there who's watching us, let's backtrack just a little bit and we are, Barb and Cynthia from River City Yarns in Edmonton, Alberta. We do a regular monthly podcast where we keep up with all of our friends near and far. And Barb, we were talking about how thrilled we've been since COVID to see that our local yarn shop community has expanded so much.
Yes, yes, that's been very, very nice. Friends from all over, and thanks in a lot in part too to the Saturday seminars that we've been able to pull together with some knitting stars, right, Cynthia?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this podcast,
Mhm.
you might expect to see us move around a little bit. We've been filming this podcast over a number of days, and so we've got lots of news for you. We're going to talk about Saturday seminars. We're going to talk about our plans for local yarn shop day. We're also going to be changing outfits, location, and chatting about what's going on in our lives as well as all the things that are happening in our shop.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
behind kind of closed doors. Okay, and we are taking appointments now. We're doing a lot of phone consultation, and there's times where it's really nice to have someone come in the store and bring a skein of yarn that they might have so that we can match it up to something else. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely, for sure. It's just a different time, different way of shopping. But we have to keep constantly looking for the positive outcomes from this COVID-19 pandemic
That's right.
and keep working with them. So we've been able to expand our outreach much further than our local community of Edmonton. And
It's
so
true. It's true, and I think that there's a certain amount of efficiencies too, Cynthia, with shopping online and, doing a little bit of pre-work over the phone or by email. It's been so helpful in my perspective anyways, to be able to offer someone a suggestion for a yarn once I know what pattern they're knitting and what gauge they're using and, all the details, what kind of fiber the pattern recommends. It's so much easier than to sort of narrow it down into a choice.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Hmm.
We're also doing something in the next over this next month that we didn't talk about in the podcast, and that's kind of what I was working on yesterday. We're doing this month. We're doing a mitten raiser. for the mustard seed community, for the mustard seed program in our Edmonton downtown community. We're making mittens for those who are less fortunate, and we're
Mhm.
going to get them all gathered up and collected and over to the mustard seed for distribution on the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. That's the Canadian Thanksgiving holiday weekend for those of you outside of Canada,
Mhm.
which we celebrate just a little bit earlier in the year. And so I finished a pair of mittens just yesterday. This is a pair of mittens that I made with a double strand of fingering weight yarn. So I kind of thinking, Barb, that one of our themes this month might also be what to do with fingering weight yarn. Yeah, and so I've made a pair of mittens that are double stranded, and they work out to about a DK gauge. So
Nice. Those
um,
are beautiful, and
yeah.
those are going to be gifted to the mustard seed?
Yeah, I'm working on two kind of prototype pairs. I'm working on a series of instructional tutorials that we'll be posting up online on how to make mittens. It's not a class. It's more of just, here's how you cast on, here's how you join in the round. So if you wanted to follow it along and learn how to make mittens, you certainly could, but it doesn't replace the kind of instruction that you would get in a workshop. So this prototype pair has a little I-cord string attaching it. So this pair is going to go to either Rachel or Hayden. But then once I've got the videos all done, I'll start making some mittens for sharing. And what a wonderful way to use up little bits of yarn that you might have in your stash. And just wanted to let people know that if you wanted to join in, there wasn't a requirement for you to be local. If you wanted to join in on our little initiative here, we'd certainly encourage you to donate the mittens or hats and scarves that you're making to a local charity of your choice. The
Mhm.
idea is just to spend the month of September doing a little bit of knitting for those who are more marginalized and who may need a little bit of warmth in the
Yeah.
coming cold months.
Yes, that's another great thing from COVID, I think, is that it's helped us think about ways as a community that we can, pay it forward a little bit
Yeah.
and help other people through our craft. I'm working on a pair too.
Oh, nice. This is a bit of a spoiler alert as well, because the pattern for this one is coming up in our podcast. So tell us about the yarn you're using on those ones, Barb.
Yeah, this is Noro. It's a cotton silk viscose blend, and the yarn's called Mirai. It was left over from my sweater.
Perfect. And people will be able to see a little bit more about that yarn later on in the podcast when we talk about the pattern. It's really nice to see it finished, though. That's gorgeous. The pattern, too, the information about the pattern will be later on in the podcast, so keep watching. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think you've got another one that you're working on there, maybe another two that you're working on.
Yeah. Well, because it's fingering weight yarn, I mean, I have so much in my stash, right? So here's one done with our Hat Chick semi-solid. This colorway is called Ride the Pine. And Noro Kid Silk, sorry, Rowan Kid Silk Haze.
Right?
And so this is the cuff. It's made, I just love these because they're made in pieces. They go so quick.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the cuff on
Lovely.
this one.
Lovely.
And then here's another one. This is another fingering weight that we have. This is Lang Milli Calori Baby. And this is a single 100% merino unspun. And here's the cuff on this one.
I love those colors.
Isn't this shift pretty?
It's
I
gorgeous.
really love like self-striping yarn, especially yarn with long stripes.
Yeah, that's
This
beautiful.
little I-cord is really neat, the way that,
Beautiful, Barb.
yeah. So I'm
So yeah,
having a
you
lot
got
of fun.
you got lots of you got lots of mittens on the go, hey?
Yeah, fingerless gloves. Yep. I
Very-
suppose I could make it into a mitten.
You certainly could. You'd have to just
Keep on
not keep it
going.
proper. Yeah, yeah.
I think
All
that
right. Well, that's fabulous. We've got a nice long episode for everybody. So I think we'll segue right into our podcast here. And thank everybody for coming and joining with us today.
are you recording?
Yep.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This better not go into an outtake.
Famous last.
Oh, well, I needed some color, Cynthia, because I've been in such pain with my tooth.
Aw.
Just hurts so much. I have an infection in my upper molar.
Oh man. It just sucks getting old. Older.
Older, yes, it certainly does. You know nothing about that, but yeah.
Or yeah, no, I know. I've got what is it, 4 crowns later, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got lots of crowns too, but I haven't got a root canal.
Yeah.
There has to be a root canal. I guess the tooth has expired.
Aw.
Died, passed away.
Aw. It's too
Yeah. What are
bad.
you wearing today?
I'm wearing Marta, Marta. It's designed by Brooklyn Tweed. I'm wearing it for 2 reasons. One, because it's kind of chilly here today. Here, I'll do this for a second. There we go. Back up again. It's kind of
Lovely.
it's fall. It's kind of chilly here today, and so it's nice to have a little vest on. But also, I'm wearing it because this month is Brooklyn Tweed's 10th anniversary. And
Yes.
so I thought it would be kind of nice to put on something, this one's made out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft.
Yeah.
And so I think every week this month, Brooklyn Tweed's going to kind of review a pattern from the past and update it a little bit, maybe reknit it in something new, or do
Yeah.
a customization to it. So that's kind of exciting, hey?
That's very exciting. And the first one that we launched was the cobblestone cardigan. That was the cobblestone pullover way back when. And so
10 years
Jared
ago.
updated it and made it into a cardigan.
That's right.
And then the other thing that they've got going on is that they're going to make them more generous in size.
Mm,
I think they call it size inclusive or something. So
yes.
yeah, so that's kind of nice too. And that, I think some of them are probably ready for an update. They're probably like 10 years old, right? And
Mhm.
so to revamp them, that's really a great idea. And
Right?
yours is so nice. Don't you love Loft?
Yeah, it's a what do you want to? It's a nice combination of U.S. sheep. So all the sheep that provide the fleece are raised in the U.S. It's milled in the U.S. It's dyed in the U.S. So it's about it's pretty local, if we can say that. I mean, it's not within 100 kilometers of us, but it's pretty close in that it's on the same continent. So that's really nice. They also have this. It also has this comforting woolly filling. I am wearing a shirt underneath this vest. Obviously, it's
Mhm.
not a garment that you would wear without anything underneath it. But that also, I don't find it too itchy around my neck, I guess is what I'm trying
Mhm.
to say. But when you are wearing wool, the more sensitive areas of your body, like around your neck and your chest, the wool sometimes feels a little bit scratchy on there. So, if you are wearing something that, you find is just a little bit scratchy, a t-shirt underneath
Yeah.
solves everything. And then, as I've said before, when the cold weather hits, you'll find that your garments are not as itchy anymore. The cold weather, the warmth of the wool against your skin in cold weather is amazing.
Hmm. I like the idea of layering, though. Even with my capelets, like this one that I have on today, I've got a t-shirt or a shirt underneath. I just think it's a nice way of, combining knits. And the vest is so practical. Sorry.
Go ahead and get that. All right. So yeah, the wearing layering is a great idea, and it's fall now, so it's a perfect time for that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyways, that vest is so cute.
Aw.
It looks really nice over the top that you've got on, and I can see you wearing it with slacks or a skirt or it's
Yeah.
kind of got a slight little cable, correct?
Yeah, there's a nice little kind of honeycomb cable design in the front for sure.
And
Yeah.
is it just to the bust and then it's plain underneath that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a Gansey, you know? You
Yeah.
put all the detail on the upper chest and leave the lower part just kind of plain. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if Brooklyn Tweed will redo that. We'll have to watch and see what they come up with for the rest of the month.
Perhaps, yeah, yeah, exactly. This one I think came with more inclusive sizing because I'm definitely wearing one that's a larger size. So, yeah, this one they may not have to redo.
Well, maybe they'll add sleeves to it, is what I meant.
Oh, yeah,
Or
that's a
turn it,
possibility.
or they could turn it into a zip version. That would be nice too.
That would be very cool for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's neat to see designers redo their patterns, isn't it?
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. We have to talk about something very important that's coming up this month, and that is our flash mob yarn.
Oh, yes. I thought you were going to say local yarn shop day, but we'll talk about that too.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah, so
flash mob.
tell us about flash mob this month, Barb.
Okay, well, this month flash mob is based on this book. Can you see what that says?
Tales from 1001 Nights.
Yes. So this is kind of like Aladdin and the lamp. There's several stories in here. I just started kind of reading the very first introduction, but this I think was it's folklore, right? So it's hundreds of years old, and one of the stories in here is about um, Sinbad and the story of Aladdin and the magic lamp. But I believe that the story was that a young woman, to save her life, arranged with, I guess, a king or this ruler to tell a story every night. So she came up with these stories in order to save her life.
Isn't that incredible?
Isn't that incredible? I mean, aren't
I
you
wanna
glad we live in now times instead of back then and then times?
I wanna hear you pronounce her name.
Oh, that's a tough one. I could try though, because, well, let me show you the yarn first and then we'll get to that.
Okay.
So it's based on this book. The book's folklore, and there's lots of great stories. And we do have copies of it if you want to get it. We bought just a few of these, so they were all hardcover. I just love books, Cynthia. I just think there's something lovely about books, and I don't think you can ever have enough in your library, whether they're storybooks or knitting books. But anyways, here is the yarn. Now, this is dyed for us, as you can see, by Ancient Art. And the silk is so shiny. Caroline did two for us. She's calling this one 1001 Nights. And it's just a deep, sort of intense brick color, I would call it. Really orangey burgundy with all sorts of variation in it. There's some light sections and some dark. But we gave her an inspiration photo from a painting, and I think we'll have it up on our website to show you what it looks like. It's a picture of a woman, and she's wearing uh, these colors along with teal. So in the photograph, the woman is wearing these clothes, and I think sort of like scarf veils. And wouldn't this be pretty as a long scarf? Anyways, this is the second color, and this is the name of the girl, Scheherazade. How would you pronounce that?
Uh, Scheherazade?
Oh, very good.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that one up and see if there's
Yes,
a
we'll
pronunciation.
have to we'll have to ask Suri to pronounce it. But look at all the colors in here, and they're beautiful. It's got this same sort of a bricky color in the skein. And then Caroline's teamed it with teals. And the teals go all the way to purples. There's some really, really deep purple in there. And there's even a section of lighter, creamy, taupey color.
Yeah, tell us about the yarn base too, Barb, because this is a special yarn base from Carolyn.
It is. It is. We first heard about this base when we were doing a Knit for Fun retreat, and Caroline dyed us some that we turned into skirts because we were all working on Ann Budd skirts, and they were done in fingering weight yarn. So this is a fingering weight, but it's got a high amount of silk in it, 25%. And then the rest is extra fine merino. So really beautiful tight spin and twist on this yarn too. If you get a close-up of it, you can see how tightly spun those strands are. And I think it's going to wear really well, whether you use it for socks or a shawl or a skirt. I think it's really going to hold up well. And then you've come up with a pattern, right? Or a pattern idea?
I'm just looking for it here on my desktop, the name of it.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm just going to show one more skein because, you know, every skein is slightly different. And this one has a lot of purple in it, so you can really see the purples that I love. Caroline's purples too. And lots of teal. Oh, that's so pretty. I can hardly wait to see what this one looks like knit up because it's got fairly long sections of color too. I can imagine that you'll get, oh yeah, you see? I can imagine that you'll get quite a bit of color, 6 or 7 stitches before it changes. So that's Flash Mob. We're calling it Arabian Nights, and these two are sold in a set. We have a pattern suggestion, but you can make whatever you like. And this one goes up on our website September 20th, 6 p.m. So you don't have to set an alarm. You just, you know, sign up for our newsletter, and we'll send you out a notification as soon as it goes up.
Yeah, so I was looking around on Ravelry for something that would be a fun project to knit with this. And you know, Barb, I'm not a shawl person, but I came across this pattern that I thought looked like would be like a shawl that somebody named Scheherazade might wear. And one of the things that attracted me to it was the fact that this shawl had tassels on it. And when I think about things that are Arabian or Middle Eastern, or when I think about a magic carpet, for example, I think about tassels. And so that's one of the things that really attracted me to this particular shawl. It's called Barkha, Barkha. And that also made me think sort of, you know, it seemed like kind of an exotic name. It turns out that this pattern is part of a collection produced by Indian women as part of a cooperative. So, I mean, it's not Middle Eastern, but it certainly is foreign in that sense to us. But, you know, the whole link with tassels and with color and with you know, exploring a foreign culture is sort of all wrapped up in there. The designs were part of a collection that was based on the monsoon season, and but I just sort of thought it was an exotic looking shawl, and it requires it. So it will take both skeins, and then you need to add in like a smaller skein of a contrasting color. And so I thought with the variegation in the second skein that you showed us, it would be really cool to pull in one of those colors and use it as an accent color. So that's what I think. You know, again, it's not. I don't wear a lot of shawls, but I think the idea of having these tassels on the shawl makes it really attractive to me. And I think with all the colors that are in there, this pairing would make it a really nice wardrobe addition. because, sometimes it's tricky to wear a piece, like, to have a piece that goes with a lot of things in your wardrobe. But these particular colors that Carolyn has dyed, I think will make for a really nice wardrobe addition, no matter whether you wear a lot of monochromatics like I am today, or whether you like, you like to wear colors, those reds and purples and all the other colors that she's put into the variegated skein will pair up nicely with a lot of different wardrobe options.
Right. So would you use the variegated Cynthia in the top of the shawl where they've used a semi-solid, or would you use it in the lace section?
I think I'd probably use it in the lace section because that's kind of, kind of like the feature panel in the shawl. But I don't think it would matter either way. You could combine them up in either way. And then I thought maybe, like a skein of Richard DeVries Pepino would make a nice additional color in there. So we could probably suggest some pairings that would pull out uh, several of those jewel tones in the variegated skein.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Peary would also be a really nice option. Pick one of those earthy tones in Peary, because there's just one little section that's sort of some short rows or um, just sort of a little kind of blip that goes through the middle, right?
There's two of those, and then
Mm.
you also add that color to the tassel. So yeah, for sure, that Piri would be lovely. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it'll be really interesting to see what people pick.
absolutely. Yes,
Hmm.
yes. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you can use these two skeins for absolutely anything. I was also thinking like a hat and glove combination would be really nice. I haven't
Mm.
knit gloves for a long time, and I think one of those full skeins would make two really lovely long length gloves, which would also be very feminine and attractive, right?
Hmm. And with the silk in them, wouldn't that be nice? You'd get a glove that would be long wearing too and really silky. That would be lovely. Do you have any pattern suggestions for that one? For a glove?
Not for gloves, no. But if you wanted to talk about local yarn shop day, we could talk about the pattern. One of the patterns that we're going to be promoting on local yarn shop day.
Hmm.
That would
Sure.
that would work with any variegated yarn and the solid.
Okay. So let's jump right into that because you're segueing us nicely.
Local yarn shop day is going to be happening on Saturday, September the 12th. And we've been sort of rounding up some cool promotions to have people engaged on LYS Day, and one of them is a pattern that we had previously published in an Advent box. It was called the Tweetable Hand Warmers, and then we put it out again as a kit. But we've gone through it and done a little revision to it to take out, well, to just give an option for knitting it in a variegated yarn. And so this pattern will be giving away free on local yarn shop day with the purchase of any fingering weight yarn that we have in stock. And I've knit up a sample in our touchdown yarn.
Wow.
Here it is.
Wow, you're all done. That's amazing. Okay, when did you have time to work on that? Because
Well, the beauty of this, Barb, is that it doesn't take very much time. So this was 2 evenings while I was watching TV. And
wow.
I really love how the touchdown yarn did this kind of flash here and another
Yes,
one
and
here. Yeah,
and then the opposite where you've got the stripes going up and down on the cuff and on the hand.
right.
That's so cool.
And on the thumb too. Yeah,
On the thumb too.
that's
What
the
you're right, it's such a fun knit. I've been making cuffs. I haven't quite got down to the thumb yet on mine, but because I've started 3 cuffs, but
right. Well, that's the whole idea behind this, is to knit in different directions. So if you've got a variegated yarn or a self-striping yarn or even a plain yarn. So when we originally did this, it was all done in a cream color, but it's just kind of fun to play around with the different directions that the yarn
Yeah.
takes. So
And it's so fun to take a pattern and to do different things with it. The original was duplicate stitched and it had birds on the front of it. So if
right.
you're looking at it online and you see tweetable mitts, that's the one. But then this one, using the hat trick, it's hard to believe that the yarn on the cuff and on the hand is the same yarn.
Yes.
But you see how when you switch it up, a variegated yarn does different things. It's a great example, isn't it?
Right, and so the other thing too is that on the cuff, we're working with garter stitch. There's a little bit of an I-cord kind of trim on the edge here, and then this is stocking stitch, back to garter stitch here and here. And so I just find it's kind of a fun way to experiment with any kind of variegated yarn. So again, I'm using touchdown here, but it would work equally well in hat trick. You could also use it with any variegated yarn. So, like if you wanted to use it with flash mob, that would be great too. And then you can play around with doing, like a plain cuff and variegated in the middle, or you could do variegated down here and plain in the middle. If you wanted to use up leftovers of yarn, this is a great project because you can do those kind of coordinations there. Tell us
Yeah.
about the yarns that you're using, Barb, when with your
Oh,
playing around.
sure. I'll see if I can find them. Okay, so I thought, oh, it might be fun to try it with our hat trick semi-solid. I had a skein of the cream. Um, sorry, it's called Ride the Pine, and it's just our fingering weight sock yarn. Actually, it's more than that. It's Italian merino. It's very, very nice. And just looks like that. And then I held it with a strand of Kid Silk Haze in a beautiful purple shade. And so here's the start of my cuff. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's really cool. The pattern's so neat. You slip the stitches on the edge and you get this sort of rolled edging that rolls one way on this side and the other way on the other side. The garter, of course, is totally reversible. So when you're done this goes around your wrist like this, and then you pick up stitches and you knit the hand off of it.
You are crazy about Kid Silk Haze, aren't you?
A little bit.
It's not a bad thing. That's a really great way. And again, you don't need very much. So if you have a little bit left over from a project, you could use it in this one. Or if you wanted to get a skein of Kid Silk Haze, I think you could probably do at least 2 full pairs of mittens with one ball.
I think so. You could also double up, I feel, too, Cynthia. You could hold 2 strands of Kid Silk Haze with it, especially if you're using a contrast color, sort of like I was doing. If I was going to do it again, I think I'd double up on the Kid Silk Haze and just have it become, more colorful. Or you could mix 2 colors together. That would be very fun. And then I thought, what would it be like if I tried it with sort of a self-striper like Noro? I had this left over from my sweater that I did, the Marie
Soundtrack.
Green, yeah, soundtrack sweater. And so I had used Noro just in the yoke, and it didn't take hardly any at all. I've got more than half a ball left. So I started doing one. And here's the cuff of that. It's got a real tweedy look. Now, this yarn's thicker, so I imagine that my hand warmer is going to be a little bigger as well. But I used really small needles. These are 3 millimeter, and the yarn calls for probably a 4 or 4.5. Yeah, 20 to 22 stitches. So I've used a smaller needle, but that just means that they're going to be tighter and warmer, I feel.
Yeah, you'll end up with a denser fabric, and
Yeah.
your glove, the glove component is given in one size. So it says one number of stitches. We haven't changed that. But
Right.
so you may find that your hand warmer is a little larger than the original. But that's not a bad thing, right? Because you could
No,
wear that over top of a pair of gloves. And wouldn't it be
exactly.
nice?
That was my thought too. I love the idea of it being a little bit bigger because I love to wear leather gloves too in wintertime. And so this is just something that you could slip right on just for a little bit of extra warmth. And I have to tell you, I really like this yarn. This is one of the Noros, and but it's got 40% cotton, 25 silk, and 25 viscose. So there's no wool in here. Right. There's no wool in here at all. So for someone who, wants to or can't wear wool, this is a really nice alternative.
Which Noro yarn is that, Barb?
Uh, Mirai.
Can you spell that for us?
Yeah, sure. Mirai. Here it is right here. There we go. And it's really fun because on the strand, you'll get little pieces of silk, little pieces of viscose, and then the cotton is just so nice and soft and cool. So it really has a lot of interest. It almost looks like tweed.
Right. Well, that's great. So
Yeah.
that's one of the patterns that we're going to be giving away on Local Yarn Shop Day. And
Hmm.
then we've got some other things too. Are we able to talk about them?
Sure. Yes. Blue Sky came out with a special offer. So any of their yarns that you buy, I think between the time our newsletter goes out and April 12th, they are gifting any one of their patterns. So they'll give you a free Blue Sky pattern. And this is great because we carry wool stock, we carry extra, we carry the alpaca, the baby alpaca sport, and we carry the cashmere that's currently on sale right now. And so you can pick any of those patterns that you want, or any pattern that Blue Sky has. But you just need to buy a skein of the yarn to go along with it. So it's a nice way of Blue Sky of acknowledging local yarn shop day, which, by the way, I think, we might not have said, but this is a way to really support your local yarn shop. We've had a tough time, there's no doubt about it, with COVID. And this is a great way to support all local yarn shops. We're so grateful for our suppliers because, this is kind of like the place where we hope to provide support to our whole community through our shop. So go out and support all yarn shops, not just ours, but all of your local yarn shops. And if you don't have one, we'd be happy to be your local yarn shop from far away.
Yeah, so I'm just going to backtrack a little bit, Barb, because you did mention April, and we should
Oh,
remind people that Local Yarn Shop Day is Saturday, September the 12th, but the Blue Sky promotion will begin on September 11th and run through September 13th, Friday to Sunday.
oh, fantastic. I didn't know that it had specific dates around it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you have to redeem the code that you'll get before the end of the day on September 13th on Sunday, or it won't be valid anymore.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're just working out the details on how we'll get that code to you, but basically, yeah, you make a purchase of any of the Blue Sky products, and we'll gift you a code that you can use either on Ravelry or on Blue Sky Fiber's website itself, and that will get you your free pattern.
Great.
It's a really great deal. Yeah.
It's a nice thing, I think, that our yarn companies are supporting our, local yarn shops.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, Blue Sky.
That's
We
right.
we have a crochet one.
Yes, tell us about that, Barb.
Mhm.
That's really fun.
Yeah, I haven't swatched for that yet, but Lang has a yarn called Millie Calori Baby, and it's a beautiful sort of single, I would say, merino single, and it changes colors very slowly. We used it in the Alaska hat. Do you remember that one?
I sure do. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful yarn. It's the colors are really, really nice. And
Hmm.
you are absolutely right. It's a singles yarn, which means that it's not plied. Very soft.
Hmm. Quite soft. And so the pattern has you buy 4 balls of 2 different colors. And so we're going to put together some combo suggestions. But there's enough there in 8 balls to get you a granny square blanket.
Oh, how
So this is
nice.
fantastic. You know, this is the perfect time for blankets with COVID. It's so nice to have a blanket or to gift someone with a blanket that they can wrap around themselves.
For sure. And I still think, Barb, that, baby season is coming. So wouldn't it be really nice to do like a beautiful granny square blanket for a baby?
Hmm.
Vanilla Calori is such a gorgeous yarn.
Yeah.
Really nice. So we'll kind of have like a kit put together that people can purchase free pattern 4 balls of milk calorie that you can just pop into your cart and
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. We just happen to have 8 colors, and the colors in the 8 combo that we have, two seem to go together, and so you need a little bit of contrast. So we're going to put those pairings together up on our website.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Really nice. Really nice. Oh, good. Okay, so if we'll probably do like another little video blurb, maybe a little bit closer to local yarn shop day, and give people some ideas and inspiration for all the things that we've got going on that day. I
Hmm.
was also thinking, Barb, I haven't like put this into action yet, but I was also thinking it might be kind of fun on local yarn shop day to do like an open Zoom session where people can log in and we could just sort of, hang out and work on projects and just chat for an hour.
Oh, I'd love that. That would be great fun.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I will, and we'll just we'll post that up on social media, maybe on our website, and just give people the login code so they can log in, no charge. Just come and hang out on local yarn shop day with some of your favorite people and make new friends.
That's right. We've made so many new friends, Cynthia, on our Saturday seminars. It's so nice to see people from, Vancouver, Washington, and Seattle, and all over Canada. And
Ireland. I'm so stoked. And we had people joining us from Australia and people from the UK. And we had someone join us from South Korea. And I was just I just felt so touched that people would stay up until 3 in the morning to participate in a
I know,
seminar.
isn't that neat? And, with doing so much online shopping, I feel like I've gotten to know so many people. Like Emily from New York, who sent us those beautiful pictures. She bought some Delana and she swatched it with Shibui Silk Cloud. And she was telling us how gorgeous it was. So, yeah, it's really nice to be able to get to know people through email back and forth and helping them, discover sort of yarns that might be new to them, and make suggestions for patterns and help in project ideas.
Absolutely.
You can't
Yeah.
help but
Yeah.
become friends.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a really nice visit with Shirley from Seattle. We did a Zoom meeting because she was trying to pick some colors for her Rutherford vest, and so yeah, there's just it's a different way of connecting with people these days, but
Mhm.
it's really nice. We're doing tutorials too online. And in fact, this morning I had a nice little chat with our friend Pat, and we were talking about picking up stitches along the edge of a shoulder. And we have Heather. She's one of our instructors. She's been doing lots of tutorials with folks, both local and international, to help them with their crochet and their knitting questions.
Mhm.
But maybe just back to works in progress and finished objects. We were talking about this before the podcast taping, and I was saying I don't have any finished objects because, I mean, other than my one mitt, I've been very, very busy with the Saturday seminars. So I sort of feel in my mind that the Saturday seminars are kind of like my finished objects.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. Do you wanna chat about them?
I'd love to, yeah, because coming up on Local Yarn Shop Day, we have two of our favorite people in the world coming to chat with us, and that is Cheryl the Pearl, Shirley Scott, and Christine LeGros, and they are the authors of the Saltwater series, is what I call it. Saltwater Mittens, Saltwater Classics, and Saltwater Gifts. These are three books that are Canadian published. And they sort of document the history and the knitting traditions of our fellow Canadians in Newfoundland. The patterning is so cool. They were the first, I think they were the first ones that I know of to introduce patterns that give you a lobster mittens. And those are mittens where you have a thumb and a finger, and then the rest of your mitten is, the rest of your three fingers are inside the mitten. So it gives you the opportunity to pinch while you're wearing your mittens without folding all that fabric over. But their books are full of everything. There's mittens, and there are fingerless mittens, and there are gloves. There's hats and scarves and tea cozies, and you name it, it's in there. So they're going to come and share with us some of their stories for putting the books together. They're going to share some of the photos that they've taken of both the geography or the location, plus the beautiful garments that they've been creating. And they're just such happy and fun people, Barb. I mean, you and I have had a chance to talk to them before, but I just love Christine and Shirley. They're just they're going to give you a sense of that Newfoundland hospitality, and you're going to end up laughing. Who knows? Maybe even crying. They're just such fun people.
They are fun people, and they tell such great stories, Cynthia. I think one of the things that came through for me in the books was the storytelling about how these patterns evolved and how people knit them, and they claim them as a family or a unit or a community, right? And you could tell where people were from by the patterning that was in their knitting. The diamond shapes too from window sills show up in a lot of these patterns. So that was very cool as well. And I love their accents. They have great accents. I think, people think we have accents, but they really have accents. So I think I'm going to listen really carefully when Shirley and Christine chat.
Well, no, Shirley is originally from Ontario, so she doesn't have quite the Newfoundlander accent that you might.
You don't think so?
No,
Oh, I do. She's got a real drawl. Yeah.
you think she's transplanted long enough to have it, do you?
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. And then following up on Shirley and Christine, we have our friends Arna and Carlos coming. They're going to talk to us about their new collection for Rowan. I'm very excited about this because one of the patterns in the new Nordic collection is a beautiful sweater with a graphic style reindeer on the front of it. And I have that on my list of things that
Ooh,
I want to make, out of that book.
good for you. I think I have the book here if you want to take a look at the cover. It
Yeah.
just arrived.
You know what? Let's do a little flip through on video later, and we'll insert it into here. So that'll be really cool. But yeah, I love their designs, and they're also they've sort of perfected this new technique that they call layered color work, which
Mhm.
is and a way of doing an intarsia kind of style in the round, using felted tweed and kid silk haze from Rowan. And their designs are really, really stunning. And it's an easy way to do intarsia. And anyway, and you have to see it. So they'll be talking to us about those techniques and their designs and where the inspiration comes from. So that's going to be a really, really cool session with Arna and Carlos. And then we've got a whole lineup from now until already into November. We're booking our Saturday seminars. So we've got sessions with Kate Atherley, Fiona Ellis, and Bud is coming back. We'll have to get Holly Yo back on the schedule because they've just been so popular, and we love talking with these um, these really knowledgeable people from the knitting world. And the seminars are 1 hour long. They're they're designed not to be so much a conversation, but an actual seminar. So you're going to learn something. It's not a workshop. It's not, there's no homework involved. You don't have to do anything afterwards. But the seminar will show you a technique, a knitting style, something very specific. And the guest will do more of a presentation style in that 1 hour time frame. And the feedback has been really good about it. People like that 1 hour session. It's not too much time. And if you miss it, we do record the session as well. So you can catch up with it later on.
Okay, what's in your Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid. What Kool-Aid?
I'm drinking the same thing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. In a blue glass with a straw.
Mhm.
We know it's straight vodka.
Yeah.
You're not fooling anybody.
Yesterday, Mario gave me a shot of tequila.
Oh, at work?
No, at home. I was drunk for about 3 hours.
Oh, man. Okay. Hey, so I came into my little like recording studio office space here at the store, and I found 3 books sitting on my desk.
Oh, great. You found them, did you?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Yeah, I brought those in for us to have a look at. Yeah, when I was doing the, mystery knit along, Cynthia, I
Mhm.
was using a stitch dictionary that I had at home, but it was so old. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, it'd be nice if we had some new stitch dictionaries. And then, wouldn't you know it, I found our book supplier had Wendy Bernard's books,
Mhm.
and she's got 3 of them. So I brought them in to have a look at. What do
Yeah,
you think?
I think they're great. I think we might have to get all 3, really. I mean,
Yeah.
what's nice about these books is like, first of all, hardcover.
Don't you love a hardcover?
I do, and then I love this too, that coil bound book, so that when you go to open it up to look at your stitch pattern, it
Yeah.
lays flat.
I know, isn't that something? You and I used to go and get our books bound, coil bound at Staples. They used to do that for us. But
Yes.
this one came that way, which I think is like, that's worth like 10 or $12 a book. It's so
Yeah.
valuable to have them bound like that.
So this is the first one. It's got 150 stitch patterns that are put into categories. So this is great for beginner knitters, experienced knitters. If you've never done lace before, but you'd like to try it, here's a great way to do that.
Hmm.
Their patterns, the stitches are separated into groups like knits and purls, ribs, textured, slipped, and fancy, yarn overs and eyelets, cables, lace, color work, hems and edgings, and there's projects interspersed throughout the book as well. So you can do a project to practice your new skills. It's
Right.
fabulous. So this looks like it might be book number 1.
Hmm.
And then this one here looks like it might be book number 2. because she said she references volume 2 in the intro to this one. So
Right.
150 new patterns.
Right. So if you had both of them, you'd have over 300 stitch patterns. And the thing that's so cool about them is, she writes the patterns so that you can knit them in the round too. So if you're doing a sock or a hat and you want to put in a pattern, like some sort of texture or color work, you've got the instructions for it for knitting in the round right there.
Right. Oh, I see what you mean. So yes, here's blanket moss stitch, and here's how you do it flat, and here's how you do it in the round.
I know, isn't that cool?
That is so clever.
And what a great resource for designers. Now we have people designing on Ravelry who are just, kind of popular, and they might not be designers per se, but they're going to stitch dictionaries like this and creating new patterns and new inspirations for us. And so what a great resource for them. They can just plug and play into a basic hat pattern.
Yes. And then there's this one.
Yes. Okay. I'm such a fan of Japanese stitch dictionaries, but oftentimes they're hard to read.
Well, they might be in Japanese.
Well, there is that. But even if they've been translated, which you're right, they're often in Japanese. Sometimes, though, they can be complex. And so I think Wendy's taken some of the mystery out of them. And it looks like she shows them all in squares. So I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, there might be a Japanese square blanket in my future.
Yeah, and there's again really nice photography in here. This one has over 160 stitch patterns. Also to knit top down, bottom up, back and forth, and in the round. Now I don't know that this one is. I don't think she's giving you flat and in the round on each of these ones, but there'll be maybe different sections for doing that. This one contains knits and purls, ribs, fancy and twisted, cables, lace, and projects.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get into that one in depth yet, but I plan on.
Here's one, and it does say flat and in the round.
Okay.
So that's pretty, yeah. As I'm leafing through here, I'm seeing over and over again flat and in the round.
There you go. So that's excellent. And both charts are shown that way too, right?
Yeah, written instructions and charted. And look at how nice that looks on your bookshelf.
I know.
Right?
Well, they're all going in my bookshelf, I can tell you that.
Total pro if you've got all three. Also, during COVID times, you can use these to build your bicep muscles.
That's true. They are heavy. We weighed them. Each one weighs like a kilo.
Does it really?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
So buy lots and River City Yarns will ship to you free of charge.
Oh, now that's a good deal. Wow.
Right? And we have a promo on. We're sharing the cost of shipping. So if people buy, every $50 that you spend, we pick up 1/4 of the shipping. So
that's true.
Go for it. Buy lots and lots. And
these books are in like the $38 range. So, it's not too hard on your pocketbook, and they make a lovely, lovely gift. If you're trying to find something for, the knitter in your life, this would be a really good option.
That's right. Yeah. And then buy a little bit of yarn while you're at it and test out all those patterns.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. Okay. Well, that's great. Thanks, Barb.
Yeah.
Thanks for always, being on the lookout for cool stuff.
My pleasure. I love to shop.
All right. Cheers. Cheers. Oh man, Barb, we're finished.
I know.
Finished.
Hooray.
Yeah.
No holes.
You have to show the armpits in this sweater, right? Because that's where the
right?
biggest hole is when you're done and you got to fix it.
Yeah.
Hey, tell
Wasn't
me
this a
again,
fun knit along?
pardon me?
Wasn't this a fun knit along?
It's the 4-day sweater, Cal, Marie Green sweater. I have to say, I wasn't sure I was going to like a top-down yoked sweater, but
I know, me too.
it's actually really nice.
It,
You,
it
you
really
have to say
is.
that, right? It's actually really nice. It's really, really nice.
It is. I would do another one.
Would you?
I would. I definitely would. I don't normally like top-down sweaters either. You know that. I like a set-in sleeve. But this one was really nice, and I would do another one.
So tell me again what yarns you picked, and if you were going to do another one, what yarns you might pick for another one.
That's a good question. I mean, I used felted tweed on this one, and that's what the blue is. And then the yoke was Noro Mirai, a cotton blend Noro yarn that kind of, I just like the transition. And I love this sweater. It's so nice. I like the color. I like everything about it. I do have to wear a blouse underneath it because it's just a little bit picky, that felted tweed. But I think maybe as I wash it and it'll soften up a little bit. I'm hoping. If I was going to do another one, I think I'd try another Rowan DK, like maybe alpaca soft. I'm working with that right now. I'm starting to do um, it's like a shrug or a cowl. Rowan was kind enough to send me Martin Story's pattern in advance. I know. And so I'm starting that as a sample for fall. It's really, really beautiful to knit with.
Well, that's so nice. It's so
Mhm.
nice that Rowan sends you patterns in advance.
Well, I had to ask for it. I just thought, oh my gosh, that would be so cool. I think a lot of our customers, you remember the year that I knit Wisp and everybody wanted to knit that?
Yep.
Yeah. So, anyways, so tell me all about your sweater.
All right. Well, I did mine out of Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia, which is 100% organic merino. And for the color work, I used Take a Hike sock yarn, the Study in Scarlet gradient kit from our friend Kim at Flock Fiber. And actually, I have to admit I'm not much of a sweater knitter. So I mean, I loved this knit and I could do it again. But I think I'm one of those people who does a sweater and then that's it. I'm not doing it again. I do have another sweater on. I do have another 2 sweaters on the go. So maybe that's part of what's going into it.
Yeah, that's it.
But and I am finding that the Patagonia is it's like it's an unprocessed merino, so it does have a woolly feel to it. I'm not scratchy. There's no scratchiness to it, but you do feel the toothiness of the wool. I think though, Barb, that will also change not only with wear, but also with the temperature outside. So I think the colder it gets, the less prickly any kind of fiber feels on your skin. And
Oh,
so, yeah, I think, in the summertime, it doesn't take much. Anything that you put on that has, like even the tag in the back of your t-shirt,
yes,
you feel it, right? I
you're
feel my
right.
hair in the summertime.
And it's especially warm out today. So yeah, if you get a little moist or a little warm, you can start to, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And the great thing about this top-down design is like now that I've got it on, it's all finished, it's blocked, I've woven in all my ends, but now I'm sort of thinking like maybe I could have put another couple of inches on my sleeves.
Oh
So
yes.
I can unpick my bind off and pull it back and add some length onto my sleeves. I have to
Yes.
decide, you know what, I might actually wear it for a couple of weeks before I make that decision because you know how you're always pulling up on your sleeves anyway?
That's right. And it could be a 3/4 sleeve, right? You could wear it like that with a shirt underneath. Okay, mine are extra long. I don't know what happened here, but I've got to make mine a little bit shorter.
Well, and because it's a top-down sweater, you can, right? Because
Yes, I
you
could.
you finished here, so you can pull it back and shorten it if you want to.
I'm so happy. I'm doing the dance of joy.
Yeah.
Well, I love your sweater. I love the fact that it goes with your hair. It's so pretty.
There, yeah. I think this is a really nice design, and I'm very pleased to be finished.
Me
You
too.
know, I'm a pretty impatient knitter, and it takes a lot of motivation. So, thank you, Barb, for finishing first.
You're welcome. I just heard that you had more work on your plate than I did.
Well, it's always good to be knitting along with somebody else because that kind of keeps you motivated, right?
Right.
Hmm.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
And what about what you're wearing?
Oh, I am wearing, right now I'm wearing the snowflake sweater from Tin, is a design from Tin Can Knits.
Yes.
And I've done it in a couple of yarns from Mineville. It's a Mineville DK weight yarn. Goes with my hair, I think. How about you,
Very
Barb?
pretty. I like the lace detailing. That's really pretty.
Hmm. How about you, Barb?
Oh, I'm wearing an older version of the Capelet Deja Vu.
One of
This
your
one,
7 Capelet Deja
one,
Vus?
one of my 7. That's correct. This one is done out of Noro, another Noro yarn, Sonata and Kumo. Yeah,
Lovely. Oh, beautiful.
I love it. It's just the perfect top to pop on today, where it's kind of a little chilly outside, falls in the air.
For sure. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
keeps me warm.
exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, mine has like 3/4 length sleeves, which is really nice too, especially when you're demonstrating. So yeah, it's perfect. Perfect. Fall weather now, hey?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I think that's about it, right, Cynthia? We don't have too much more to chat about today.
Nope, that's
So
it.
we'll say adios to everybody. And
Absolutely.
yeah, we'll see you again in our next podcast, number 45.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great month. Make lots of mittens.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.